Well, what it do, motherfucks? It's your boy, the hater, once again, and this is Wrestling is Fake, Part 2. At the end of what is now going to be retroactively called Part 1, because that was just Wrestling is Fake, was the name of that video. At the end of that video, I made a point, right, as to how wrestling being fake needs to be the origin, the 0 point, the X equals 0, Y equals 0 point on our graph of progress, motherfuckers. The graph of progress running wild on your bitch ass, right? Now, here's the thing, right? In order for things to get better, things must first be understood, right? We cannot understand anything, and we cannot really comprehend what it is that's going to happen if we do not start from zero, right? The reality is as follows. Wrestling is fake, right? Love it, hate it, I don't care. This is the truth, right? Wrestling is fake. Now, with all that in mind, why is this important? I'll tell you. First, if we can accept that wrestling is fake, like most of us obviously have, right? We can then trim the fat, right? We can get rid of things that do not take this factor into account, right? Namely, let's give an example, Gunther, right? The character of Gunther, right? I mean, he doesn't really have a character, but if he did, his character would be that he takes it seriously, right? The mat is sacred, he tells us, right? Now, with all that being said, what can we do about this, right? What can we do about the fact that this guy thinks the mat is sacred, right? This is not going to lead to anything good, right? This cannot be converted into a gimmick that enters into storylines, right? I mean, maybe he can have he can wrestle, I don't know, fucking, let's see, Rey Mysterio, and he can be like, oh, this flippy shit that you do does not respect the ring, but it's like, says who, right? You know, Lucha Libre has garnered respect enough. But anyways, that's not here nor there. The idea is as follows. If we take away the fact that wrestling is fake, we open the door for wrestlers like Gunther and gimmicks or lack of gimmicks like the one that Gunther currently employs, right? Gunther would be better off with any other gimmick, right? If tomorrow Gunther comes in as, I don't know, Guntar, right? Your friendly plumber, that's already a step in the right direction, right? So we have to understand that wrestling is fake because once we get past this, right, we can then tap, motherfucks, we can tap into the things that make wrestling good. The fake stuff, right? The fake stuff is what makes wrestling good. Wrestling is not going to be made better by people like Gunther being serious and having no gimmicks. Wrestling is not going to be made better by people, that's right, motherfuckers, by people walking around and acting like nothing is happening, right? That's not how that's going to go. You understand me? That cannot be helpful for wrestling. Wrestling is only going to improve once we tap into and we embrace the fakeness, right? Over the top, unrealistic shit, right? Things that if they happen in real life, you'd be like, am I part of a fucking prank show, right? Those are the things that make wrestling awesome. Stone Cold dropping a payload on top of the DX bus, right? Stone Cold coming back to Raw after being arrested, right? With police vehicles to beat up Mr. McMahon. Things that would never happen in real life. We're talking Grand Theft Auto levels of shit here, right? This is what wrestling's about. The fat Samoan guy who hangs out with a guy who does the worm as a finisher and another guy who is white but has fake braids, right, that he connects to his head so he looks like he's more hood, right? The fat blonde Samoan ran over the Texas redneck because his cousin, who's not really his cousin, is also a Samoan, and he feels like Samoans have been held back. Ironically, despite the fact that Samoans are the people in wrestling that get the most boost from their ethnicity, right? That's what makes wrestling. Nobody wants to see one guy overcome the odds every single fucking time. Sometimes you want to see a badass win, right? Think about it. Let's talk about two great movies that illustrate the point. The hater's personal favorite movie, Con Air, starring Nicolas Cage. In the movie, I'm not going to spoil it because if you haven't seen it, you really need to stop right now and go watch Con Air. But in Con Air, Nicolas Cage basically plays a badass who, through standard badassery saves the day, right? Best movie ever. Now, that's the formula for a lot of action movies. There's another movie called The Rock, right? Starring also Nicolas Cage, motherfucks, the hater's personal favorite actor. So in this one, Nicolas Cage plays a normal guy who has to overcome the odds, right? Now, this is appropriate once in a while, right? But we don't want to see this every time, right? That's why we have the concept of the action hero, right? The Arnold Schwarzeneggers of the world, the Van Dammes of the world, hell, even the Steven Seagals of the world, right? That's what we want to see, is clear badasses doing clear badass things, right? We don't want to see Sami Zayn playing the role of a non-badass who, once in a while, can tap into his badassery. You see what I'm saying? And the first step to getting to this is to accept that wrestling is fake, right? If we accept that wrestling is fake, then a lot of the fake shit can fit in. Now, when I say we accept wrestling is fake, this does not mean that we give carte blanche to people like Matt Hardy to have teleportation matches. No, absolutely not. Wrestling is fake, but it is still a grounded product, right? There is slight room left for supernatural stuff, right? But this is limited. Number one, it should be limited in its frequency, right? And two, it should be limited in its scope. For example, The Undertaker is presented, right, in many ways as a supernatural character, right? But this could all be in his head, right? So the fact that Undertaker can be weakened by Paul Bearer's urn, right? That can be explained by either The Undertaker really is a demon from hell and this is the source of his power, or The Undertaker is an insane person, right? Who, like really believes that his fucking, powers come from this urn, right? Just like the character Joaquin from Shadow Hearts 2 with the butterfly mask. Shout out to anyone that got that reference. But the point I'm trying to make is this, right? We are not saying here on the Hater channel that wrestling being fake means that people can start shooting make-believe fireballs and having matches with blow-up dolls, right? Absolutely not. What I'm saying is this. We can be extravagant about it, right? If you watch soap operas, and there's always been a comparison between wrestling and soap operas, right? If you watch soap operas, you see all this outlandish shit, right? Hell, if you watch any kind of drama, like if you watch, I don't know, if anyone here has seen the show Nip Tuck, it's a great show, right? It's like, you would think, or I'll give you a better example, a more recent show, The Rookie, which was a great police show, right? Like, if any one of the cops on The Rookie was a real person, like, they would be, like, internationally known. Because the guys on The Rookie, they thwart, like, every season, they thwart, like, some terroristic or serial killer threat, right? But that's why the show exists, right? It's there to give you extravagant shit. Nobody would watch, a show, right, about cops who don't do anything, right? I met a cop once at this gun shop, right? I was looking to buy a gun. I ended up not buying one. This was many years ago. And this guy was telling me he had just retired. He was like pretty young. He was like in his late 40s. He just retired and he said, look, he's like, I came from the army. He's like, my first day on the job as a cop, he's like, I got into a shootout, right? He's like, then 24 years and 365 days later, he's like, nothing else. Just that, right? The life of cops is very boring, but we're not going to translate that to fucking TV, right? However, we're not going to have the lawyer or the cop or the doctor in any kind of TV show turn into a vampire in season 3, right? It still has to make sense. Wrestling has been presented as normal shit for a long time. So there's no room for teleportation, because we're at WrestleMania 40, right? And thus far, no one else has done this. So we cannot go too far, but we must understand that wrestling is fake. And by understanding this, we can then move forward, cucks. We can move forward and ignore boring-ass wrestlers like Sami Zayn who don't have a gimmick. Sami Zayn is literally just a guy named Sami Zayn, right? And if you look at him just without any kind of indication as to what the hell is going on, you would never think this guy is interesting or entertaining. So someone has to explain to you why. That's why gimmicks exist, motherfucks, because someone understood. They're like, well, we have this guy called Bull Buchanan. He's 6'7", built like a horse, looks like a badass, right? But that's not enough. He needs to have a reason why he's here. He's here to help the big boss man, right? He's here to help the big boss man, and that's why he's also a prison guard. You see what I'm saying? Boom, that's all. That's all you need. Now I understand why Bull Buchanan is on my TV. You see what I'm getting at? And now Bull Buchanan can undergo gimmick changes, which he did many. He became part of Right to Censor, then he became B Squared with John Cena. A lot of these things can then change and manifest and happen differently. But that's neither here nor there. The truth of the matter, motherfucks, is exactly what I've been telling you. And what I've been telling you is quite simply and quite honestly the truth. That if wrestling is fake and we accept this as a reality, we can then look at all the wrestlers like Sami Zayn and think to ourselves, well, this guy's not even Bull Buchanan. Like he's not even 6'7", built like a horse. And he doesn't have a gimmick. And the reason why he's here is why again? And someone's gonna say, oh, Sami Zayn's great in the ring. Great, wrestling's fake. What do you think of them apples? See what I'm saying? If we apply the wrestling is fake filter, we can get rid of everybody and start anew. That's all I gotta say about that, cucks.